Good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to see uh, the topic of business ethics and corporate governance. Okay, we have studied the topic introduction part of the business ethics. We have also studied Eastern and Western ethical thoughts. We have studied the decision making also. We have also studied the workplace, individual workers, and morals. We have also studied the challenges of environmental ethics, Indian thoughts for a business. Now we are going to see the social sustainability on business. Okay, so before starting this point, we will just discuss a little bit about the business ethics, its essentials, and how business ethics is helpful for the company growth and development. Okay, so what do you mean by ethics? First of all, we need to discuss that thing. Okay, in the previous lecture also we have studied about the ethical part, but we are going to discuss again so that we can recall the things which we have discussed earlier. Okay, the concept of ethics is an art decision or a behavior is ethical if it is conformably with prevailing norms or standard of society. The number of issues are arise by this definition. One issue which is implicit is the question of whether there are absolute standards or whether ethics always entails a relative judgment compared to prevailing norms of society. Okay, there are many people who believe that there are absolutes. Okay, on the other hand, many recognize that over the time many standard of behavior have changed in our society, even though there may be a small set of absolute which would agree upon. Okay, so ethical involves critical analysis of human acts to determine whether they are wrong or right in terms of two major criteria: truth and justice. Okay, this truth and justice is very much important. Okay, there are several behavior that indeed might be unethical by the creation of truth. Okay, satisfying time, quality, quantity reports, claiming credit for someone else's work, or sick to take a day off when one is not sick, concealing one errors. Okay, this is the criteria of truth. Now the unethical judgment. Okay, now using company service for personal use, this is unethical, right? This is unethical. Doing personal business on company time, this is also an unethical thing, right? So this kind of unethical thing you need to handle. Okay, practical implementation are for more controversial, and since senior and ethical behavior have serious problem in agreeing on how far the probation or murder or instead include killing. Okay, in defense of own life, the burger breaking into your house, the enemy soldier in time of war, the enemy civilian in time of war, animals or pleasure. Deciding between the right or wrong, it is not easy when different ethical values are in conflict. Okay, now many people have defined business ethics differently. One of these definition of ethical business behavior is any business decision that creates a value for the customer by matching quality with prices. Thus, ethical decisions are expected to provide a customer with valid data about the product and services, right? uh, Enable the customer to make free and informed choices, generate customer commitment to the product and the organization that provides it. Okay, violation of these three rules is called as an unethical behavior or invalid and false data, right? So these are the important process. Now we are going to discuss a little bit about the elements of business ethics. Okay, business people must come to appreciate the key elements that compare making ethical judgments. Okay, now ethical imagination, ethical identification and ordering, ethical evaluation, tolerance of ethical disagreement and ambiguity, integration of managerial or ethical competences. These all the sense of ethical obligations, these all are the important elements of business ethics, right? Now we are going to discuss about the social sustainability of business. Okay, this is your seventh chapter that we are going to discuss, the seventh chapter, social sustainability. Okay, Now, the concept of sustainable development has received from growing recognition, but it is a new idea of many business executives. For most, the concept remained abstract and theoretical. Okay. Now, over here in the book, they have given business as a sustainable development. If sustainable development is to achieve its potential, it must be integrated into planning and just measurement system of business enterprises. And for that to happen, the concept must be in terms of the familiar of business leaders. Okay. Now see, for the business enterprises, sustainable development means adopting business strategies and activities to meet the need of enterprises and the stockholders today, while protecting sustainability and enhancing the human and natural resources that will need in the process, need in the future also. Okay. It is important to emphasize that sustainable development cannot be achieved with the single enterprises. Okay. I mean, it should be a groupism activity. The entire business community should follow the rules and regulation. Then only the sustainable development activity comes into the picture. Okay. Now let us discuss the implications of for business. Okay. It has become a niche that environmental problems are sustainable, and that economic growth contributes to them. A common response of stricter and environmental regulation are often inhabits growth. The result can be a trade-off between the healthy environment and one and the healthy growth on the other. The consequence opportunity for business may be constrained. However, there are some forms of development that are both environmentally and socially sustainable. Okay. Business and society can find approaches that will move towards the three goals. Now see, these are the important three goals which is helpful for the sustainable development. Okay. In the business: environmental protection, social well-being, and economic development. Definitely environmental protection is also one of the necessary factor for the growth and development of the economy as well as the business and the society, right? If you see, there are a lot of business which is going on, they are not given a priority for this environmental protection, right? They are not giving the priority for the safety of the environment. They are doing the production, but with that production there are some harmful effects is also going on, such as pollution kind of thing, right? Air pollution, water pollution, so this is happening. So we need to think of this environmental protection. Now the second one is social well-being. Social well-being is a concept which is being helpful for the betterment of the society, right? That means your production should be in such a way that it should not be very much harmful. Nowadays, malnutrition kind of things is also being happening, right? Over here, the small children, they are not getting a nutrition products, right? So this is also a not a right thing for the society point of view. So the company should also have to give focus on the social well-being as well. Now the next one is economic development. Definitely economic development plays an important role for the uh, growth and development of the society. Economic development takes place only when there is a growth in the society in the form of employment opportunities, right? In the form of eradication of poverty. I mean, there is a I mean the poverty should be thrown out from the society by having a good welfare life for the people those who are living below poverty, right? So it is helpful for the society for the growth and development. Development includes the providing the employment opportunities for the people those who are educated but they are not able to get the employment opportunities, right? Because in some of the areas, if you take the example of Indian economy, in some of the areas, the education facilities are available, but the employment thing is not available at that age. You can take an example of rural areas, right? As compared to urban area, rural areas, there is very less amount of environmental opportunities are available. Mostly environmental opportunities are available only in manufacturing unit, most of it, right? So, and in the agriculture sector, that's it. But if you see in urban area, there are lots of industries are available, those are providing the employment opportunities, service industries, there are other industries are also. So we need to think from it, and we need to also have to see that this environment, this economic development can be boosted with the help of this sustainable development, right? Sustainable development is good because it will create opportunities for the suppliers of green consumers, developers of environmentally safer material and process, firms that invest in engage in social well-being. These enterprises will generally have a it will learn their local communities goodwill and see their efforts reflected in the bottom line. Now the next thing which we are going to see is a practical consideration. See, the practical consideration are giving the example of the things which is happening practically, right? There are a lot of factors that has been written over here. Okay, now we are going to see the positive impact of sustainable development. Okay, now with the help of this sustainable development, there are a lot of opportunities are occur in the economic development, due to which our economy can grow very easily, right? But there are few challenges also, right? The challenges in the factor that unemployment is one of the important thing, below poverty line is also one of the important thing, right? Deforestation, this is also one of the challenging factor which really we need to thrown out from our society, right? Because with the help of the deforestation, our environmental green environmental area get reduces, and with the help of which we are not in a position to provide a good safer safety for the animals as well as for the other free air pollution also. So this deforestation really creates a problem. So with the help of this sustainable development in the business sector also, business sector should also have to follow certain rules and regulation, and these rules and regulation is often very much helpful for the society to grow their economic development, to grow their economy also with the help of this sustainable development. See, I will give you a few examples. Now now if a company is launching any kind of plant in one particular area, so they have to think from the society point of view also. So for that reason, what they need to do, they need to see that the greenery area which is there, right, they have to maintain it in a similar way. So they have to do more afforestation as compared to deforestation, right? They need to they need to make a more plantation, with the help of which the green environment will remain healthy in a particular area where the industries has been opened, right? Because while setting up any kind of business, there will be some kind of pollution which is really affecting the environment, right? It may be the air pollution, soil pollution, or water pollution, any kind of things. Now we are going to see the next point, that is called as a enhancing and management system. Now in this area, positive side of change, we have seen a lot of things which is helpful for the company's growth and development. And many consumers, they also prepare to pay more for the environmentally responsible product, right? They are going to check that this product is going to be environmental free or not. They are going to eat such kind of product only which is environmental free. Now, enhancing management system, the concept of sustainable development, the concept of sustainable development needs to be incorporated into the policies and process of the business if they follow the sustainable development principle. This does not mean that new management methods need to be uh, invented. Okay, rather it requires a new cultural obligation, orientation, and extensive reforms to system. The practices and the procedure, the two main areas of management system that must be changed are those are concerned with the greater accountability and non traditional stockholders control practices. Developing an effective management framework for sustainable development requires addressing both decision making and the governance. The concept of sustainable development must be integrated both into business planning and to management system and control system. Okay, senior management must provide reports to measure performance against these strategies. Okay, governance is increasing important because of its growing accountability and the corporation and the senior management. Information and reporting system must be support in these needs. Okay, decision making at all level must become more responsive to the issue arising from sustainable development. Seven steps are required to for managing an enterprises according to the sustainable development practices. Now, perform of stockholder analysis. See, the investment are going to happen in such area only when they are going to show a good profit with the help of the environmental activities, right? See, any investor, those who want to invest in the business, they are going to see whether the companies are showing the profit or not, right? They are also going to see what are the extracurricular activities the companies are doing, right? Today business enterprises are developed countries operate more complicated and more regulated environment. Okay, now numerous laws and regulation govern their activities and make their director accountable for the broader range of stockholders. Such sustainable development intends for the stockholder group even even further by including future generation and the natural resources. Now, what they required? They require that the company should formulate the rules and regulation which is formed by the government with a positive way. And if you take the prospectus of the company before making any kind of investors, you will find in that prospectus also they have written the activities which they have done, right? Whatever the activities, and they are not going to show only the profit, they are also going to show what are the other things they have did for the sake of the society and for the sake of the economic development, right? Developing means the approach of stockholders analysis in the vital aspect of the management system, and one of the key difference between sustainable and the conventional management practices. Okay, so we need to understand this concept very well, that investors should not only focus on the profit, they should also focus on the company's growth and development with the help of the society and the economic development, right? Now, second is set sustainable development policies and objectives. The main objective is to articulate the basic values of that enterprises expects its employees to follow with respect of sustainable development and to set targets for operating practices. Okay, senior management is responsible for formulating the sustainable development policies for their organization and establishing specific objectives. Sustainable development means more than just an environment. Okay, it is a social element as such as the elevation of the poverty and the distribution equality. Okay, it takes into account economic consideration that many of the absent from the strictly environmental viewpoint. Okay, in particular it emphasizes maintaining and enhancing the world capital environment, and highlights limited of the society's ability to sustain man-made capital for the natural capital. Okay, now over here there are lots of things such as leadership qualities are there, excellence is there, future generation, future growth is also there. Now, drafting all this thing, we need to understand that sustainable development not only focus on the environmental thing, it is also focused on the overall development of the society, right? It is also a kind of a planning process and put forward value towards which management, employees, and the other groups such as suppliers are expected to strive. Okay, now policy statement like this one should be developed and implement in the way that visibility involves directors and senior management. Now there are a lot of things which is in the hand of the owner of the company, right? And the management committee. Only the workers cannot do anything by their own way, because it is the responsibility of the manager to handle such kind of things, right? Now, recognizing the critical link between the healthy environment and sustainable economic growth, we are the telecommunication industries in protecting and enhancing the environment, right? Now, integrated environmental consideration into one business planning and decision making process, which include the product research and development. New manufacturing methods are also there, which is helpful for the company's growth and development. Now, identifying, assessing, and management of environmental risks associated with their operation and the product throughout the lifestyle. Okay, life cycle includes with the process of introduction, where the new product has been launched and it is goes to the peak area, and sometimes it falls down. It falls down. There are a lot of reason for the product. There may be a reason of good competition. There may be a reason of um, customer test and preference. There may be a reason of new competition. There may be a reason of uh, production of same kind of product only. There may be a reason of no innovation in the product. So these are the important factor which plays an important role while declining the product lifestyle. Okay, declining of the product in the life cycle. So while having this declination process also, the company should all not focus their sustainable development activities. They also have to give focus on the environmental development. They also have to keep a little bit of the fund for the sake of the environmental development. Environmental development plays an important role for the sake of environmental protection and for the economic development in the society. It is also helpful for the people or the employees, those who are working in the organization. Those who are working in the organization, they also need to make a little bit of contribution for the sake of giving a useful thoughts to the management activity or to the owner of the company, that we can also help the society by making such kind of improvement, right? Their thoughts is also being welcomed by the company, because they know that even they know that the employees are working in the grassroots level, so they know very well how we can improve our environmental protection, right? Because they are the one those are going to live in such areas, right? So in that areas there should be a proper environmental protection activity should be considered and should be taken into the consideration for the long duration of time. So definitely these activities is being more helpful and more judgmental for the sake of the employees development growth point. This decision preparation and management of the environmental protection activities should be considered. Whenever there is a meeting which is going on in the organization, they should also keep in mind that environmental protection point should be taken into the consideration. Because when there is a board of directors meeting, when there is a chairman meeting, or when there is any other meeting, in that meeting they should keep one agenda on the environmental protection, because they have to they have to invest, or we can say they have to spend little bit amount of money for the sake of the environmental. But if they do so, then definitely the customer is also going to show some kind of loyalty and some kind of trust upon them, and definitely they are going to purchase the product more, because they knows that these companies also playing an important role for the sake of development of the society, right? So definitely they are going to purchase the product, even though the prices is little bit high. It doesn't matter for the consumers, because they knows that these companies really providing some kind of benefits for the sake of the society's growth and development, right? So this is also an important factor. Then there is a need to build a relationship with the other environmental stakeholders, including government, scientific community, educational institute, public interest group, and the general public, to promote the development and the communication to innovate solution to industries environmental protection. Okay, now there is a one important statement which in the book, the statement which is given in the book, that is called as provide regular communication and training to the employees, um, and for the sake of awareness of the environmental issues. Definitely, it is a responsibility of the manager or the committee, those who set up the rules and regulation. They should also have to see into it that the workers should also get the awareness about the environmental protection activities, right? Because workers are the one those who are helping the economy to grow. There are those who are helping the company to grow, right? Because they are working in the grassroots level, and 90% of profit is depend upon the workers only, because they are the one those who are doing the work physically, right? Manager are the person those who are those who are getting work done from the employees. So employees and workers are the person those who are really helping the company to grow. So it's the responsibility of the manager or the or the owner of the company to handle such kind of things for the sake of environmental development, and they should also provide a proper guidance and awareness for the sake of the societal development, right? This is also a helpful factor for the sustainable development. Now we are going to see the effective external monetary system which is necessary for the directors and the senior management in order to ensure the sustainable development policies, objecting and the management system to appropriate for the concept and rapidly changing world in which their business operates. Now there are few things that we are going to see, such as trade union concern, competitor strategy, industries protection standards, new proposal legislation, and the trade union concern. Okay, technical development strategies also there. Now we are going to discuss the design and execute of the environment implementation plan. See, whenever whenever you are trying to do any kind of new thing, you should also have to keep in mind the strategy to achieve that thing. Okay, so proper planning is also very much important, and the implementation of plan is also very much important nowadays. As we have seen from the year 1950, the Indian government economy, they have launched one concept that is called as 5-year plan, and which is really running successfully throughout the decade. So over here also we need to find out that whatever the implementation, whatever the strategy they are formulated, it should be properly maintained and stabilized for the sake of the growth of the common peoples as well as economic development point of view also. So this is the responsibility of the environment. This is the responsibility of the owner of the company to follow these strategies. Okay, in the implementation, you can say the managing this type of organization change require manager strategy planning. The board of directors executive must be actively involved in the process. Okay, they need to lead for the sake of the environmental growth and development. Now some organizations have ongoing consultation arrangement with stakeholders that facilitates this process. There is a little point of embarking on the program to meet stockholders need without first consulting stockholders to ascertain these needs. Now, see, day-to-day activities which is performed by the workers, that also to be carried out with the help of this implementation plan. Because if you want to achieve anything, you need to have a proper planning activities, right? For making this activity successful, you have to make a strategy, short-term strategy we can say, and we also have to focus on the implementation of that strategy for the sake of the sustainable development and the economic development of the country, right? Now we are going to discuss the next point, that is called develop a supportive corporate culture. Definitely, in order to enhance or in order to ensure that the organization and the people give their backing to the sustainable development policy, an appropriate corporate culture is essential in the process of implementing sustainable development, the environmental management policies. Many companies have experienced a kind of organizational renewal. The increased participation of employees not only generate practical ideas but also increase enthusiasm for the program itself. Most customers and the employees enjoy being part of the organizational that is committed for operating in the socially responsible manner. Okay, now there are few fundamental things which is written in your book, which is absolutely helpful for the sake of the corporate supportive corporate culture. Now next thing which we are going to discuss is the develop measure of standard of performance, the implementation of sustainable development objective, and the preparation of meaningful report on performance require appropriate means of measuring performance. For the sake of understanding whether that person has achieved the goal which is required for him to achieve. Okay, by looking at the past performance also, we can able to identify whatever the work which is going to be given to the next person, he is eligible to do that work or not by looking at the past performance. So we need to understand this, that the concept of this standard of performance is very much crucial for the sake of the growth of the employee and for the sake of the growth of the company. Okay, the measure used to assess and the report the performance will be influenced by the company's sustainable development objectives and by standards that have been established to government by government and the other public agencies. For example, the performance target. For example, the performance target may be a set in terms of emissions level and energy usage per ton of output, and perhaps here working loss due to accident or illness. Okay. Now, sustainable development activities provide a good environmental issues. They also make more awareness about the environmental issues. They are also giving more pressure for the action, and the government can expect to take some more influential role. Now over here, the government role also plays an important over here, because government are the those who are helping the organization to grow in the organization. uh, uh, Government are the one those who are helping to set rules and regulation for the sake of business and for the sake of the economic development also. Now government has to take an action for the sake of maintaining the standard of performance. Nowadays, company rating is also dependent upon the work they are doing for the sake of the society also, right? So societal growth and development is also being societal growth and development is also one of the important factor for increasing the level of efficiency, we can say, right? With the help of that, we can measure how much work the company has done, and due to which we can provide them a grade. Okay, this grading is also being helpful for the customer to make a choice of the product, whether this company is going to provide a good beneficial performance for the society point of view or not. That we are going to understand from this factor. Then prepare report. Okay, the next step is in the process is to develop meaningful report and the internal management and stockholders outlining the enterprise's sustainable development objectives and comparing performance against them. Okay, directors and senior executives use the internal performance decisions and to monitor the implementation of their policies and strategy. Now, see, the shareholders, creditors, employees, and the customer, as well as the public at large, use external corporate reports to execute the performance of the corporation and to hold the directors and the senior executives accountable to achieving financial, social, and environmental objectives. Okay, regulators and government officials add to tasks by acquiring even ever expanding degree of disclosure in order to ensure compliance on their regulation. While financial report continue to be a fundamental components of corporate reporting, there are now only one of the many types of report issued annually by the corporation. Okay, it is important to narrow the gap between the economic activity is measured and the way in which use of natural resources is evaluated. Okay, now financial standards do not illustrate the degree in which the enterprises invest in pollution control and conserve resources. Now, yes, definitely, this financial report does not illustrate all these things, but it is a responsibility of the company to give a little bit contribution, or we can say a little bit fund, or we can say a little bit amount of financial help for the sake of environmental growth and development. The environmental growth and development is fully depend on these factors, right? Suppose if a company is facing any kind of if the company is doing a very good job, and for the society it is not helping, it is not showing any kind of societal benefits, then we can say that this company is only running for the sake of profit earning. So over here, what we need to understand that company is not providing a good reputation in front of the societal development and the economic development of the economy as well, economic development of the country as well. So what we need to do, we need to find out that and we need to make sure that the company should also have to focus on such economic development activities also. They can do it by providing a little bit of the fund for the sake of the environmental development also. Now there are lot of companies are there, those who are helping to provide shelter, food for the sake of poor people, or they are making a funding the money to the sake of the NGOs, right? Which is also one of the important factor. Now enhance internal monitoring process on the ongoing basis. It is important to develop mechanism to help the directors of senior manager ensure the sustainable development policies are being implemented. Performance monitoring is well established as an important element for the management process. In many areas it is differently linked to reporting, metrics, output is going on basis. Okay, now reviewing reports submitted by middle managers. Okay, touring operating sites or observing employees performance their duties, holding a regular meeting with subordinates and review reports and to seek input to how the procedure and the reporting system might be improved. Implementing the environmental auditing program, right? This is organizing internal environmental audit in the practical way to monitor the implementation of management policies. For example, many organizations now perform internal audit to monitor uh, compliances with environmental policies and legislation. These normally requires multidisciplinary terms of experts. For example, engineers, auditors, and scientists who possess the necessary knowledge and experience, both is auditing in the areas being audited. Okay, now we are going to discuss the management leadership. Establishing sustainable development objective system and monitoring mechanism requires leadership on the part of major on the part of senior management and to commit to continuous improvement. Without the improvement, without the active involvement of the board of directors, it is difficult for the organization to implement sustainable business practices. Cooperation are encourages to establish the social responsibility committee. The responsible for setting corporate policies on sustainable development personal policies, environmental protection, and the code of business conduct. Okay, now self-assessment. Okay, the first step of business is adopting sustainable development principle is to assess the current position. Management should know the degree in which the company's activities line up sustainable development principles. This requires evaluating the company's overall strategy, the performance of specific operations, and the effects of the particular activity. This process should compare the company's current performance and with the expectation of the stockholders. Many philosopher and the system should be reviewed. The scope of public disclosure on sustainability the required data should be evaluated. Okay, now another thing is deciding on the strategy. Once managers have gained an understandability of how its own operations shape up, they should gauge the performance of others. Comparison, organization comparison against the standards set by the other industries and the environmental group can be instructed. Now, in this statement, we need to find out the comparison between the other countries, other companies, and your companies. How much you are making a contribution for the sake of for the sake of the environment, right? Over here you need to find out whatever the environmental activities you are carrying out, it should be much more better and effective than the other companies, so that we can rate your country, your company's valuable efforts, right? I mean, they should give a more focus on the environmental, societal development as well. Now there are lots of companies, those who are providing a huge amount of funds for the sake of the economic development and economic growth. Lot of companies, they are providing funds to the NGOs also. Okay, with the help of which, you know, the NGOs are also setting a good performance result, and they are also contributing for the societal growth and development. Okay, now while making any kind of plan, these plans should be developed through consultation with employees throughout the organization. Okay, because possibly with the assistance of outside specialists, the employees can give you more fruitful suggestion, because employees are the person those who are practically working in the organization and they knows how the work is being carried out. Okay, for this factor we need to understand that what we need to understand that the employees are the person those who are helping the organizational growth and development. We should also give a little bit authority for them also to provide their contribution, useful contribution for the sake of societal development and economic development. Okay, they can also participate in the meeting, and they can also provide their thoughts and suggestion, which will helpful for the societal growth and development. So we have completed our seventh chapter. In the upcoming lecture, we are going to see the corporate governance chapter. Okay, we are also going to see the next point, that is called as your ninth chapter, which is a corporate governance theories and models. We are also going to see the 10th one, that is the corporate social responsibility. Okay, in the upcoming lecture, we are going to see all this.